Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. If you'll please stand and join us in singing, we're going to sing Michael Stillwater's song, I Am As God Created Me, in the light, in the love, in the glory.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Julie, and it's my pleasure to serve you today and to welcome you to our service. Let's all take a moment and check our cell phones. Be sure they are completely off. Thank you. Join me in waving hello to our friends at home. Your presence adds to our spiritual community, and we truly appreciate you. We are so blessed to have, as our musicians today, Anton Miserak and Laura Berryhill. Yay! And our guest speaker today is our own Reverend Susan Galvin. Reverend Galvin's our assistant minister here, and she's been here for the past 2 years. Susan's been ministering, teaching, and training individuals in transformational processes for over 30 years, creating a graduate program in consciousness studies at JFK University, pioneering a new church, Unity of the Spirit, and guiding the global financial community toward life planning and heart-centered client relationships on 4 continents. Join her for her relationship workshop this afternoon. Please welcome Susan. Okay, let's open our service by focusing our intention through our opening affirmation. Please join me in prayerfully and powerfully speaking it together 3 times. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Once again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Let's continue by reading aloud the statement of our unity. God's love is within each of us, guiding us to dynamically express our wholeness, wisdom, and abundance. We acknowledge the universal wisdom in Christ's teachings and in all spiritual paths. I now choose to open to the presence of divine love and to be changed at depth. Throughout this sacred time, God is uplifting me, and through my heart, the world. And our heart minister, CL, will give us our daily word. Thank you.
The word for today is attraction. Whether I desire a loving relationship, a new job, a healthier lifestyle, or a greater realization of God, the good I seek is seeking me. A beloved Unity author once wrote, "Desire in the heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness. It is the first approach of the thing itself striking you that makes you desire it, or even think of it at all." I am encouraged and inspired by this statement of truth. My heart's desires are within reach. Communing with God through prayer, I welcome the good unfolding in and through me. As I take each step towards my heart's desire, I am patient, confident, and trusting. I attract abundant good. And from Luke 8:15, these are the ones who, when they hear the word, hold it fast in an honest and good heart, and bear fruit with patient endurance. The affirmation for today: with intention and faith, I attract abundant good into my life. And would you repeat that with me, please? With intention and faith, I attract abundant good into my life. And once again, with intention and faith, I attract abundant good into my life.
Soles na gremia, matin na glora, Strien largai Soles na grenje matin na glora Javi hereten javrige goor Molle glenjes, molle gegering Kruige geer matin gafla Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
Wonderful. I'm going to highlight a few upcoming events, and the details of these and other wonderful activities are in your bulletin and on the website. You don't want to miss our Jazz on the Lawn concert series coming in July and August. Tickets are on sale today on the patio and in the Welcome Center during the week. Come out to the patio after services today for help logging in and navigating Unity Connects, our new online communications tool. We'll take your picture and upload it to your profile. You can't miss us. We'll be wearing the funny hats. SEEC, our Spiritual Education and Enrichment Week. It's going to be coming here soon at the end of the month. Jeannie is on the patio to assist you with information and sign-ups. Reverend Sheila, would you come up? Oh, she.
We're wide awake and vibrating energy, wide awake and vibrating energy, wide awake and vibrating energy. This Wednesday on The Wave is the once a month Wednesday night service that I do. It's an alternative service, very hip, very trendy. We are featuring our YOUers, guitarists and drummers and DJs. They are brilliant rappers, spoken word. Want you to come out and support our young people and let them see that there's a place for them in this ministry. Come have some fun, bring your grandchildren, your children, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors. Bring all of the young people and your young person inside of you as well. And come check us out. It's 7:30. We moved it back so that it gives you time to navigate traffic, get home, eat, and come back and prepare to party with me and the young people. And my theme, my talk is going to be, what's the word? I'll be talking about the power of the word. So come out, join us, support our young people, and we're wide awake and vibrating energy, wide awake and vibrating energy, wide awake and vibrating energy.
Mike, do you want to say something? Okay.
How can I follow that? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I have some news, might not be news to you actually, but it's something I'm proud of, and that is that the men's group here has taken over the leadership of LIA. Yes. Now, LIA, as you recall, is Love in Action. That's the program that brought us together to manifest the renovations of our facilities and to renew our ways in which we serve each other, like community outreach and the children and family team. And there are, though, several aspects remaining to be done. But what we have done and what needs to be done, that is important to us all. But I think what was most important to us with the Love in Action program was that it brought us together and closer as a community. Well, this alone would have been worth it. And now the men's group is proud and honored to have the opportunity to lead the community in renewing the Love in Action commitments. And this, of course, doesn't mean that it's just open to the men. Love in Action is a program for everyone, men, women, children, families, everyone. But the men will be facilitating new sacred gathering events that have been scheduled between now and the end of September. And those of you who have attended a sacred gathering meeting in the past, you'll remember how integral it was to enhancing your sense of community and exploring your own spirituality. For those of you who haven't attended, let me tell you, it is a wonderful evening. You become more connected to your community, and you develop a deeper understanding of your own spiritual life, and you'll be sharing in an atmosphere of comfort and trust in individual homes. Which brings up the next point. We are in need of a few more homes to schedule the events. The men's group will prepare the light meal and clean up, move furniture, whatever is necessary. All you have to do is volunteer your home to be a sacred gathering home. It is especially nice if we could have a home out in Martinez, up in Concord, in the various areas in which we live, rather than having everyone come to central locations. I will tell you that you do get a special blessing for offering your home and opening it this way, and you'll have memories that will last a long, long time with you. Sign-up sheets will be available for attendance as soon as we finalize the locations. We need a couple more. If you see me on the patio after service, we can schedule that, or you can contact me, Mike McGuire, or Javier Cortez on Unity Connects. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Very important work that you're doing. Thank you. If you're here with us for the first time, we welcome you to our spiritual community. We'd love to meet you, and we invite you to experience our community as our guest at a Unity event of your choosing. Please take the very important presence card from the seat pocket in front of you to the welcome table on the patio to learn more about us and receive your gift certificate. And if you're still new and if you're willing to please raise your hand so we can acknowledge you. Any newbies? Okay, welcome, welcome. Oh, quite a few. Good morning, morning. Oh. We would like to offer a special blessing to you and everyone new to our services, both here and online. Together we love you, we bless you, and we behold the light of God shining through you. Welcome. Let's enjoy a moment, and until the music begins, to greet the people around you.
that your loving is a miracle. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
We invite you to prepare for our time of prayer and meditation, which will begin through music.
So please join us in a chant from the Tibetan tradition to invoke universal compassion into your lives, reprogramming yourselves from the inside out so that compassion becomes a more natural first response. The words are pronounced Om Tare Tare, Tut Tare, Tu Re So.
Let that sound just wrap around you and enfold you in the resonance that it brings. The sound of life, the song of home. And as that sound enfolds us, I invite you to remember what is also invisibly with us at every moment, and that is the breath. Take a moment now to breathe in that gift of life that invisibly sustains you moment by moment, from first to last, ever present. And just as that breath brings life and renewal and energy into your body, It is at the very same time the invisible presence of Spirit, breathing life into your soul. We know the word for breath and spirit are the same. And so I invite you to consciously receive that gift of life, that gift of spirit, that gift of being, and let it find its way to the heart of every cell of your body. Into every thought and every feeling. Lifting, awakening, opening and healing. And as you receive this gift of breath, remember that there's only one atmosphere surrounding this planet. And that same invisible spiritual presence in the form of air that we breathe has sustained the life of every living being that has ever been or ever will be on this planet. We are truly one in the breath, in the spirit, in life. And as you continue to receive that gift, let your attention be drawn into the very center of your being, into your heart of hearts, into the place where all is calm, all is still, all is bright, all is still. Be still and know I am. Be still. As you continue to open to receive the gift of breath, of spirit, of life, I invite you to bring your attention to what you breathe out, to breathe out into that shared atmosphere, all that is good in you, all that is warm and loving and embracing in you, all that is peaceful and holy, and all that is happy and joyful and playful. Let that be your gift back into life, that you breathe back out into this shared world, the best of yourself. In gratitude, in humility, in generosity. For we are the means by which Spirit enters and departs the vessels of life itself. And as the love of your heart goes out with each breath, let that love first encompass and fill your own body, renewing, restoring, redeeming all the parts that are waiting to be recognized. That are waiting to be known with love. And then let that love expand from your heart through your breath into your family, your loved ones, your friends. Breathing out into your communities, into our beloved country, and into all the people and countries of the world. Bringing them into your heart and out again on the breath of loving spirit. And let that breath now enfold all living things on this beautiful green earth. And all that have been and all that are yet to be. For we are truly one in the breath, one in the spirit, and one in the heart of God. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. Join me. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. Again. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. And just one more time. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. So it is.
Tare tare, tu tare tu re so. Om 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 tare tare. Tare tu re so, om tare tare, 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 tare tu re so.
So in the spirit of going deeper, this song, which is in Scottish Gaelic, is about a mermaid. She has to make some difficult decisions and finds herself separating from the ones she loves. She goes into the ocean and dives deeply in a way that allows her to find the richness that's inside all along. farga Wavanarget sorgunji Lan yura Hanakasune Aunan kurst Yollo first Uva is na Horion Uva is na Horion Uva is na Horion Sound lay for of Yahweh.
Good morning. Happy to be here. This is kind of an important day for me. I gave my very first talk in this sanctuary 25 years ago, and it happened like this. It was the Sunday after Carol Knox had been killed. And the president of the board asked me to speak to the community. The reason for that was because they had a relationship with me. I had been conducting the services for several years whenever she was gone, not giving the talk, just conducting the service. And the board president at the time felt they needed that familiar relationship to help them through this first Sunday. But I had never given a Sunday talk before. So, what a challenge. I didn't have a clue what to do, so I went to Carol's house and I sat in the place where she prepared her Sunday talks. Her Bible was on the table next to me, so I picked it up, placed it in my lap, prayed, and let it fall open. And what it fell open to was Matthew 22, verse 37, and you all know what it is. It was, "Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." What is it really saying? It's all about relationships. Relationship with God, relationship with others, relationship with ourselves. Life is relationship. We don't make this journey by going solo. We don't lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. We make this journey because we have each other. We are all connected in a web of relationships, visible and invisible, that sustains us at every moment, whether we know it or not. So, when Reverend David asked me to talk today about relationships, I thought, perfect. Happy to do that. And because I'm stepping down as assistant minister at the end of this month, I realized that I wanted this to be my final talk as a minister. I've given over 600 Sunday talks, but I wanted the last one to be here with you in this same sanctuary where it all began for me. And that is today. And that is this service. So, I have my husband and my daughter here. Thank you. So what does it boil down to for me after all these years? It comes down to what I have distilled to two words: be with. How do we be with another in a way that is transformational? that elevates life, that brings renewal, that opens hearts. Isn't that what we're here for? One of the things I learned in working with people over the years is that people, all of us, we get stuck. We get stuck on a position or an emotion or an experience. And we find it impossible to move off of that experience unless somebody can affirm to us that we're okay right where we are. Right where we are. For some reason, that affirmation that we're just being human seems to open up space and bring freedom. Transformation takes place. So, when I was first starting on this journey, I thought, well, okay, so how do you do this? How do you learn to truly be with somebody in a spiritual way? And I noticed that the teachers that I was drawn to had one characteristic in common, and that is that they were an empty center. Now, that may sound paradoxical, but Carol Knox had an empty center. So did my Sufi teacher, Rashad Field. And by an empty center, I mean they knew how to completely let go of their human agendas, personalities, issues, and become a receptive and clear and empty space for the breath of God to blow through. Frank Fool's Crow, who was one of the great medicine chiefs of the Lakota, called this being a hollow bone, to create such a clear inner space that only spirit moves through. So, how does that happen in real life? I think that I'm an intimacy junkie. You know, hello, my name is Susan. I'm an intimacy junkie. I remember when I was a little girl, when my friends would come to spend the night. The time I loved best was in the middle of the night when it was dark and everybody was asleep, and we would be whispering in the dark. And speaking into that darkness and silence, the veils would lift, and I would come so close to the living center of my friend. And I treasured those moments, treasured them, still do. I want to share a couple of stories from my life in terms of how this has manifested itself to give you a better idea. And these first two stories have to do with my husband, who has reluctantly agreed to let me share them, because he's a much more private person than I am. The first one was about 12 years into our marriage. And we had just moved to California, and we had put together yours, mine, and ours. I had 3 sons, he had a son, we have a daughter. It was chaos. The boys were going through puberty. They had all shifted position in the family by this merger. It was overwhelming. A day came when he said, I can't take this anymore. I'm out of here. So he left. And a few days later, I found out he'd moved in with a younger woman. Mm-hmm. I went through all the usual emotions, reactions, responses, but the situation didn't change. And about 3 months later, I decided I really need clarity. Well, we'd both been divorced before, so we knew how to do that. And I made an appointment with a lawyer in Walnut Creek. He was on the corner of Newell and Main in a building that's no longer there. And I went to see this guy. So I'm sitting in his office, and he says, tell me about your marriage. So I talked for an hour, and he listened. And when I finally ran out of things to say, he looked at me and he said, "I'm sorry, I will not handle your divorce." And I was like, dumbfounded. What? An attorney turning down business? He said, "No, you are still in love with your husband. When you are no longer in love with your husband, come back and then we'll talk about a divorce." Well, because he had held this space with internal emptiness, not thinking about his income, his role as attorney, all the stuff about him had disappeared. He was able to perceive a truth lying more deeply in me than I knew. But when he gave it back to me, I knew it was true. And so I got in my car and I drove to where he was working, rolled down the window and said, "I'm not going anywhere. You can do as you please, but I'm in it to stay. I'm not going away." And he said, "I'll be home in 3 days." And he was. That man was my redeemer. He was the redeemer of our marriage. He brought it back from the brink of death into life. And we now, believe me, we live happily ever after. Another story. This time I was on the other side of this equation of being with. About 20 years later, there was a young woman who had been very close to me, to our family, to my church. But she reached that stage in her journey where she needed to go another step, and that meant leaving. But the only way that she could break her attachments and leave was to create chaos. And boy, did she create chaos. It was a very wounding time for me, for my family, very difficult to get through, even though I understood what was moving her. My husband was not so understanding. It took months, actually, to recover from the impact of her departure. 10 years later, she came back to the Bay Area, had been through her own process of growth, and she calls me up and says, "I want to talk. Can you join me for dinner?" She wanted to create that reconciliation. I said, "Of course." My husband was working an evening shift at the hospital, so I thought, great, he'll never know. I joined her for dinner, and we were just about halfway through when my phone rang. "I got off early tonight. Where are you?" I thought, okay, do I lie or do I tell the truth? I told the truth, and the phone immediately hung up. I said, okay, I think I better go home now. I did. I got there, and he was very, very quiet, sitting on the couch. This wasn't good. So I sat down next to him, and after a few minutes, I'm hearing an echo or something. After a few minutes, he said, "How could you? How could you?" And then the volcano erupted. All the anger just came pouring out. I'm sitting there like this. The next thing I know, he's gotten up. He's so filled with the energy of this anger. He's gotten up. We're in a little apartment building. And he goes over to the door, and he just starts pounding on the door. The whole building is shaking. I thought, oh, great, now the police are going to come. But no. He came back and sat down. But he's ranting, and the anger is just pouring out of him. In that moment, I knew there was nothing I could say that was going to make it better. In fact, if I said anything, I would just make it worse, which means my mind went quiet. And I actually went into that emptiness. Just there, just being with this explosion. And something happened when I got quiet. A veil lifted, and behind the rage, I saw the pain. I saw the pain of the betrayal. And that touched my heart. And without even thinking about it, I leaned forward and kissed him on the cheek. He stopped in mid-rant. And that was the end of that. But the empathy, the recognition went right through. I want to share a poem from Lao Tzu. Reverend David does this all the time. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting, he is present and can welcome all things. All things. So the first key to being with is that internal state of stepping out of self, out of our life story, all of our needs and agendas, and having that empty center. And the second part is the natural emergence of empathy for the human being sitting in front of us, for ourselves. I was teaching how to do this out in the world of money for years. And part of that process was a sharing of stories. One of them was my friend Ray. Ray, tall, handsome Italian guy, old San Francisco family, had a law degree, but he decided he wanted to go into the world of money so he could make money. And he did. He went into financial services. He married. They had 3 children. But he had the mojo. He knew how to work the angles, and he was making money hand over fist and working extremely long hours to do so. But he thought he had it all. Big bank account, big house, family, He'd arrived. And then his wife one day sat him down and gave him the "I don't love you anymore, Ray" speech. Because he wasn't there. And she was quite clear, she was done. So Ray went into a state of real deep despair. His life was over, his dream demolished. And in this state, a friend talked him into going to a cycling event in Texas. He loved to bicycle, and so the friend thought it'd be good for him to at least go do something. So reluctantly, he went along, and he's riding his bicycle on a highway outside of Austin, Texas. And suddenly he becomes aware of someone bicycling right next to him. And he looks over, and it's Lance Armstrong. And he says, Lance, out of his despair, Lance, how did you do it? Cancer, divorce, how did you get through it? And Lance, still riding his bicycle, came right next to him and put his arm around Ray. And he said, it could have been so much worse. And he gave him a squeeze and then rode off. But that moment changed everything for Ray. He was no longer alone. He had received not only the empathy, but the hope for a future, because he knew it was true. It could be so much worse. It was not all gone, and he began to rebuild his life. A woman from my church, her husband just posted this again yesterday on Facebook and reminded me. Paula lost 2 houses in the Oakland fire. One was the home she lived in, one was the rental home that she had for income. Both completely burned. But that wasn't the worst part. Her own home, she was an artist, and except for 2 or 3 paintings that were on exhibit, her entire life's work went up in the flames. 6 months later, she developed ovarian cancer. Not too surprising. And her husband tells that when she was sitting in the ward, the doctor came in and talked to her and said, "The type of ovarian cancer you have has less than 20% survival rate." And she said, "Am I going to die?" The doctor never answered her. He turned and walked out of the room. But a woman who was taking care of her aunt at the next bed overheard the conversation. And she came over and sat down next to Paula, and she said, "Honey, I had exactly that same cancer. And I want you to know that my sex life is now better than it ever was." So again, she not only met her at that threshold between life and death, but she offered her a life worth living as a possibility. These are acts of redemption. You are the redeemers. We are the redeemers. We are the ones who can raise the dead and restore life. Simply by being with. Do you want one more story? Then I'll stop. Out in the world of money, I met some of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my life. They're just like us. They serve their clients, they have big hearts, they're growing, they're seeking, they're learning. I really loved hanging out with them. And we were sitting in the executive conference room at RBC Dane Rauscher, which is a broker-dealer, in Minneapolis. We were at the end of a 2-day workshop of their top-level executives. We'd been working on this kind of stuff. And a young man told a story. And it goes like this. When he was a little boy growing up in Minnesota, his grandfather lived on a farm. And he said what he remembered most was how big his grandfather's hands were. Big hands. And when he would put his little hand in that big hand and walk with his grandfather, he felt so safe and protected, cherished, completely enfolded in love. But of course, he had grown up. And now it had come to the point where his grandfather was making his transition. And so as he was flying to the hospital to be there, he thought, I'll give him what he gave to me. So when he got to his grandfather's bedside, he sat down next to him, and his grandfather was past the point of talking. But he picked up his hand, his grandfather's hand, and he held it in his, so that he could be that sustainer while his grandfather went through his process. But at the last moment, something happened. His grandfather shifted, and the next thing he knew, he was being held again. These are the moments when we know that we truly are spiritual beings on a human journey. Before I close, I just want to mention to you that having started here 25 years ago on that Sunday, that was so powerful in so many ways. This is my last Sunday talk. I've given over 600 over the years. But I wanted to close the circle of this part of my ministry in the place where it began, and while I'm still an assistant minister of this church, a position that I will leave the end of this month. So this is my final Sunday talk. And I am so grateful that for all these years, just like you today, I've been able to speak into the silence what lies deepest in my own heart, and to have it received and reflected back. That has been so much a part of my own journey. The gift of listening hearts. So I want to close with something from Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi theologian and philosopher. My heart has become capable of every form. It is a pasture for gazelles, and a convent for Christian monks, and a temple for idols, and the pilgrim's Kaaba, and the tablets of the Torah, and the book of the Quran. I follow the religion of love wherever its caravans advance. There is my religion and my faith. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was beautiful. We're really going to miss you.
I'm still here.
She's still here. Oh, if you would like prayer support for challenges or celebrations, please ask our heart ministers. They will be available after the service here in the sanctuary and on the patio. The heart ministers are wearing lavender stoles. You're also invited to place a prayer request in our prayer box by the front door or in the book center, or by selecting the prayer request link on our website. We'll be praying with you throughout the week. And now it's time for our prosperity celebration. For love in action or credit card donations, there are envelopes provided on the back of each chair. Now I invite you to take your tithe or love offering in your hand and be aware that God is the source of all your good. Repeat our affirmation with me together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am truly grateful.
So I'm going to do another Celtic piece, and I'm going to ask you, if you can, to help us by keeping a steady rhythm. tickets are still going around, so let's try it at a little faster speed.
Can you play Walking in the Light for the kids?
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that too.
all right.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Let's bless our children together. Children, you are loved, special, and important. God loves you, and so do we. We give thanks for these offerings and dedicate them to increasing the consciousness of love in our world. Amen. So let's stand and join hands and sing the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let there be love on earth.
light and the love and the peace in the world right now. So let your light shine and have fun.